Now that we've got the tyre done, we can start to work on the actual internal wheel and the trim. Again, to do that, same as before, we're going to create a sketch and create it on the edge of this wheel axle. Zoom in and get it into position so it makes our lives a little bit easier. With this, we want to use some of these edges that already exist and we want them on this sketch that we're currently doing. So to do that, I'm going to go to create, project, and we're going to project, and we're just going to select those that we want to include. So we want to select the inner edge just here and also this wheel axle as well. Then just click OK. So we can now use these within our sketch as actual sketch objects rather than just edges that exist on other bodies. So we're going to use the offset tool once again. We're going to create an internal offset just a little bit in. I'm going to go about -45 and click OK. Again, another offset, but this time it's going to be an external one just on the outside of this wheel axle. And I'm going to go with about 35 for this one. Now from here, it's a bit similar to before, but this time the pattern is within the circles. So what we're actually doing now is we're creating the trims for the actual wheels, or as the kids on the streets call it, the rims. So to do this, I'm going to create a line. Make sure this is a center line because it's going to be used as a reference. Straight up, make sure it's at 90 degrees. Click the tick. But this time, because I want this wheel trim and this rim to have a bit of a pattern, a bit of aesthetics to it, I'm going to select a fit point spline this time. Bit of a tongue twister that one, but we got through it. I'm going to select this and outer. Now I'm going to make sure that my first point is on the edge of this inner circle. I'm just going to drag it out and make a bit of a pattern in and around that center line. Again, making sure I join to that edge of that circle. From here, I'm going to use the mirror tool. Now this is where it becomes a bit complicated. Now, this is where it becomes a bit difficult to select because there's loads of separate points along that spline. What we can do in our sketch palette is select points. Once those are turned off, it should be that bit easier to just select the actual line itself. Once we've done that, we're just going to select that line. And again, it's going to automatically select our mirror point, saving us some precious time there. Click OK. Now again, it's going to look a bit messy, a bit difficult to see, so I'm just going to turn constraints off. This time though, I'm actually going to create that circular pattern within the sketch environment. To do that, let's go to create and select circular pattern. I'm going to select these two splines as our objects, and our center point is just going to be that point just there. Again, pick how many we'd like to have. I'm going to go with about 6, see how that looks. No, I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to go with about 5 instead. Again, entirely up to you how many you have on yours. Click OK. Finish that sketch to come out of it. You need to press E for extrude, and we need to select that outer rim, that internal one, and we need to select each of these vase-like shapes that we've created with our spline. Now from here, we need to go back by the same distance as our other one, which is -125. Again now, as this is a separate body, I'm going to change that operation to new body. Now, generally when you have a wheel trim like this, it doesn't come entirely the way out. It's usually set in just a little bit. So instead, what I'm going to do is this start, I'm going to do it with a slight offset. What I'm going to do with this offset is I'm going to go for -10mm, which means I then need to bring this down by 10mm as well. Click OK, and you now have a nice finish wheel with a nice rim and also a tyre with a nice tread on it as well. In order to get all four, we just need to use the same principles as the previous video with the move copy. Select both of these bodies and do a point-to-point move.